What if I told you that right now, engineers in Japan are planning to build a bullet train, not through mountains, not through cities, but directly underneath the ocean floor? A train so fast, so advanced, so mind-blowing that it would make every other transportation system on Earth look like a horse-drawn carriage. Hello everyone, I'm Fawad Malik, and welcome back to Fawad Beyond Borders, the channel where we travel beyond borders, beyond limits, and today, beyond the ocean itself. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Hit that subscribe button right now because what you're about to hear will genuinely change the way you think about the future of travel, engineering, and human ambition. Today we are diving literally into one of the most ambitious, most expensive, and most jaw-dropping infrastructure projects ever conceived by the human mind. The proposed underwater bullet train connecting Japan to South Korea, with future extensions towards China and beyond. A project that would sit beneath some of the deepest, roughest waters on the planet. So buckle up. This is not science fiction. This is real engineering. This is real money. This is real Japan. Let's go. Section 1. Japan's relationship with speed, a nation born for bullet trains. To understand this underwater masterpiece of engineering ambition, we first need to understand Japan's extraordinary, almost obsessive relationship with speed. It was October 1st, 1964. The world was watching Tokyo prepare for the Summer Olympics. But something even more historic happened just 9 days before the opening ceremony. Japan launched the world's very first high-speed rail system, the Shinkansen, which in Japanese literally means new trunk line. The world called it something simpler, the bullet train. That original Shinkansen traveled at 210 kilometers per hour, absolutely unheard of in 1964. People couldn't believe it. Journalists called it a miracle. Engineers from Europe and America flew to Japan just to see it with their own eyes. And Japan didn't stop there. Not even close. Over the next 6 decades, Japan kept pushing, kept innovating, kept building. Today, Japan operates one of the most extensive and sophisticated high-speed rail networks in the world, covering thousands of kilometers across the Japanese archipelago, connecting Tokyo to Osaka, Hiroshima, Fukuoka, Sapporo, and dozens of cities in between. The modern Shinkansen N700S series travels at speeds up to 320 kilometers per hour in regular service. That's faster than most sports cars on a highway. And it does this while carrying hundreds of passengers in absolute comfort, with a safety record that is, frankly, one of the greatest achievements in transportation history. Here's a fact that will make your jaw drop. Since the Shinkansen began commercial operations in 1964, that's over 60 years of operation. The total number of passenger fatalities due to derailments or collisions? 0, not 1, in 60 years. This is a nation that takes engineering seriously. But here's the thing, Japan is an island nation. It is surrounded by water, the Pacific Ocean to the east, the Sea of Japan to the west, and to the south and west, the Korea Strait, separating Japan from the Korean Peninsula by roughly 200 kilometers at its narrowest point. For decades, this water was the border, the limit, beyond which even Japan's remarkable Shinkansen could not travel. A flight between Tokyo and Seoul takes about 2.5 hours. Fast enough, sure. But what if there was a better way? What if Japan could do what it has always done best? Build something that has never been built before. Section 2. The concept of the Japan-Korea Undersea Tunnel. The concept of an undersea tunnel connecting Japan and South Korea is not new. In fact, it has been discussed, proposed, debated, and studied for more than half a century. But in recent years, the conversation has intensified dramatically, and with it, the possibility of a high-speed rail line running directly under the Korea Strait? Let's set the scene geographically. The Korea Strait separates the Japanese island of Kyushu from the Bisan region of South Korea. At its narrowest point, near the island of Tsushima, the strait is approximately 200 kilometers wide. The maximum depth of water in this region is around 230 meters, not the deepest ocean by global standards, but certainly not shallow either. The proposed route would work something like this. Starting from Fukuoka, Japan's sixth largest city and the nearest major Japanese urban center to South Korea, the tunnel would travel underground and then submarine, meaning under the seabed, through and past the island of Tsushima, which sits like a natural stepping stone almost exactly halfway between the two countries, and then continue to Busan, South Korea's second largest city and one of the busiest container ports in the entire world. The total tunnel length being discussed? Approximately 230 kilometers. For reference, that would make it nearly 4 times longer than the Channel Tunnel, the famous tunnel connecting the United Kingdom and France, under the English Channel, which is currently the world's longest undersea tunnel at about 50 kilometers. Let me say that again because it's important. The proposed Japan-Korea undersea tunnel would be approximately 4 times longer than the Channel Tunnel. The engineering challenge alone is staggering. Now, what would travel through this tunnel? Not just any train. The concept calls for a maglev, magnetic levitation bullet train, not the standard Shinkansen. Something even faster, something operating on entirely different physics. We'll get to the maglev technology in just a moment. But first, let's talk about why this project matters so much geopolitically. Section 3. The geopolitical dream. Why Japan, Korea, and China all want this. The Japan-Korea undersea tunnel is not just an engineering project. It is a geopolitical statement, an economic game-changer. And for the nations involved, it could represent nothing short of a transformation of the entire Asia-Pacific region. Let's start with the economics. Japan and South Korea are 2 of the world's top 15 largest economies. Between them, they trade hundreds of billions of dollars of goods and services every year. Semiconductors, automobiles, chemicals, electronics, food, culture, the economic ties between these 2 nations are deep and complex, even if the political relationship is sometimes complicated by historical grievances. Currently, to move goods between Japan and South Korea, you need a ship or a plane. Ships are slow. Planes are expensive. A high-speed undersea rail link would change everything. Cargo that currently takes days could arrive in hours. Business travelers who currently spend hours at airports could zip between Fukuoka and Busan in approximately 30 to 40 minutes. Think about that. 30 to 40 minutes to cross an international border and an ocean. From Japan to Korea, in the time it takes to watch an episode of your favorite drama. But it doesn't stop at Korea, and this is where the vision becomes truly breathtaking. Some proposals extend the concept far beyond Busan. They envision a trans-Asian railway network that could eventually connect Japan to South Korea, then through North Korea, if political conditions ever allow, and into China, and from there connecting to the broader trans-Siberian and transcontinental rail networks. In theory, you could one day board a train in Tokyo and, with transfers, reach London by land and undersea tunnel. No plane required. This is not pure fantasy. The rail infrastructure across much of Eurasia already exists or is under construction. The China-Laos Railway, the expanding Chinese high-speed network, the Russian Trans-Siberian, these are real operating systems. The missing link is the Japan-Korea tunnel. South Korea has expressed interest. Various South Korean administrations over the decades have discussed the tunnel as part of broader peninsular connectivity plans. China has also shown interest, viewing it as a potential extension of the Belt and Road Initiative infrastructure investments. Japan's position has been more cautious, shaped by engineering challenges, cost concerns, and yes, complicated historical relationships with its neighbors. But Japanese academics, engineers, and business communities have consistently kept the conversation alive. The vision exists. The appetite is real. The question is the execution. And that brings us to the most fascinating part of today's story, the technology. Section 4. The technology, maglev, and the science of levitation. Now we get to the part that I personally find absolutely mind-blowing. Because if Japan builds this tunnel, they're not going to put just any train in it. They're going to put their most advanced, most extraordinary transportation technology into it, the SC maglev superconducting maglev. On April 21, 2015, something happened in Yamanashi Prefecture, Japan, that rewrote the record books. A Japanese maglev test train reached a speed of 603 kilometers per hour. 603 kilometers per hour. That is the fastest any train has ever traveled on Earth, ever, in history. For perspective, minus 603 kilometers per hour is roughly half the speed of a commercial aircraft. It's faster than many private jets at low altitude. It's so fast that if you were standing trackside watching it pass, the train would be gone before your brain could fully process what your eyes had just seen. So how does maglev work? Let me explain it in a way that I promise will be fascinating even if you're not an engineer. Traditional trains, including the regular Shinkansen, roll on steel wheels along steel rails. There's physical contact, there's friction, and friction is the enemy of speed. No matter how perfectly engineered, there's always a limit to how fast you can go when one piece of metal is rolling on another. Maglev eliminates this entirely. The train does not touch the track. It floats above it, literally levitates. Using the principles of electromagnetism, Japan's SC maglev uses superconducting electromagnets, coils of wire cooled to minus 269 degrees Celsius. Just 4 degrees above absolute zero, the coldest possible temperature in the universe. At this temperature, electrical resistance drops to zero, allowing enormously powerful magnetic fields to be generated with minimal energy loss. These superconducting magnets in the train interact with the electromagnetic coils embedded in the walls of the guideway, the tube the train travels through. The result: the train levitates approximately 10 centimeters above the guideway surface, suspended in midair by pure magnetic force. No wheels, no friction, no contact. The train is then propelled forward by a linear induction motor, essentially a traditional rotary motor unrolled into a flat surface. Alternating magnetic fields in the guideway push and pull the train forward, accelerating it to extraordinary speeds with a smoothness that passengers describe as almost dreamlike. There's no engine noise in the traditional sense. There's no vibration from wheels on rails. There's only the soft whisper of the air being displaced as the train moves through its enclosed tube at 500 kilometers per hour or more. Now here's the critical connection to the underwater tunnel. Traditional Shinkansen, operating at 320 kilometers per hour in a regular open environment, produces tremendous aerodynamic forces. In a tunnel, these forces are even more extreme. The train essentially acts like a piston, compressing the air in front of it, creating pressure waves, noise, and structural stresses. This is one reason why even the most advanced Shinkansen lines use very carefully engineered tunnel profiles. For a 230-kilometer undersea tunnel, conventional high-speed rail would face enormous aerodynamic challenges. But maglev in an evacuated or partially evacuated tube, that's a different story entirely. Which brings us to an even more futuristic possibility that some engineers have proposed for this route. Section 5. Hyperloop meets maglev, the next evolution. Some of the most forward-thinking proposals for the Japan-Korea undersea connection don't just talk about maglev. They talk about something even more radical, a maglev system operating inside a low-pressure or near-vacuum tube. You may have heard the term hyperloop, the concept popularized by Elon Musk in 2013, proposing a transportation system where pods travel through evacuated tubes at near supersonic speeds. While the American Hyperloop ventures have had mixed commercial results, the underlying physics is sound and has been studied seriously by engineers worldwide. The key insight is this: air resistance is the primary limiting factor in ground transportation speed. At 600 kilometers per hour, a maglev train is expending an enormous amount of energy just pushing air out of its way. Remove the air, create a near vacuum inside the tube, and suddenly the speed limits that physics imposes become dramatically higher. Some theoretical calculations suggest a maglev in a vacuum tube could safely travel at 1,000 kilometers per hour or more. 1,000 kilometers per hour in an undersea tunnel under the Korea Strait. At that speed, the journey from Fukuoka to Bizen, approximately 230 kilometers, would take roughly 14 minutes. Less time than it takes to watch a YouTube video. Less time than many people's daily commute within a single city. Now, I want to be honest with you, as I always am on this channel. The full vacuum tube Hyperloop version of this project is still firmly in the conceptual stage. The Japan-Korea tunnel discussion is more immediately grounded in conventional maglev technology, still extraordinarily fast. Still revolutionary, but using proven systems rather than experimental ones. But the fact that engineers are having these conversations, that these proposals are being written up in technical papers, that government committees in both Japan and South Korea have studied them, that is remarkable in itself. The ambition is real. The technology is advancing. The question is always cost and political will. Section 6. The Engineering Challenge. Building under the ocean. Let's talk about the most staggering aspect of this entire project. Actually building the thing. Because even if you solve the financing, even if you resolve the politics, even if you have the most advanced trains in the world ready to go, someone has to dig a 230-kilometer hole under an active ocean. And that is an almost incomprehensibly difficult task. Japan actually has relevant experience here. The Seikan Tunnel, completed in 1988, is a 53.85-kilometer rail tunnel connecting the Japanese islands of Honshu and Hokkaido under the Tsugaru Strait. For many years, it held the record as the world's longest and deepest undersea tunnel. It's still the deepest, with its lowest point sitting 240 meters below sea level and 100 meters below the seabed. The Seikan Tunnel took 24 years to complete and cost the equivalent of billions of dollars. It was an engineering triumph that came at enormous human cost. Dozens of workers lost their lives during its construction, and the project faced floods, collapses, and geological surprises that required extraordinary problem solving. Now multiply that challenge by 4 or 5 times for a tunnel 4 times as long. That gives you a sense of what the Japan-Korea undersea tunnel would require. The primary construction method for a tunnel of this kind would be tunnel boring machines, TBMs. These are extraordinary devices. Essentially giant mechanical worms with rotating cutting heads covered in extremely hard carbide or diamond-tipped cutters. Modern TBMs can cut through rock and soil while simultaneously installing prefabricated concrete lining segments behind them, moving forward continuously. The world's largest TBMs are about 17 meters in diameter, roughly the size of a 5-story building. For a high-speed rail tunnel requiring 2 tracks plus service passages and emergency access, you'd likely need a tunnel diameter of at least 14 to 16 meters. Possibly larger if running maglev guideway infrastructure. Here's one of the major technical complexities. The Korea Strait is not geologically uniform. The seabed involves varying rock types, potential fault zones, areas of soft sediment, and of course the enormous pressure of water above. The tunnel would need to be designed to withstand not just the static pressure of the overlying water and rock, but also dynamic forces, earthquakes, which are not uncommon in this seismically active region, and the constant movement of the ocean above. Japan is one of the most earthquake-prone nations on Earth. The Tohoku earthquake of 2011, which triggered the devastating tsunami, measured 9.0 on the Richter scale. Any tunnel under the Korea Strait would need to incorporate seismic isolation systems, flexible structural joints, emergency drainage systems, and redundant safety mechanisms that go far beyond anything required for a land-based tunnel. Then there are the operational challenges. A 230-kilometer tunnel with trains traveling at 500 kilometers per hour creates unique emergency response scenarios. If there is a fire, a power failure, a medical emergency, how do you evacuate passengers from a tube that is at its midpoint? 115 kilometers from the nearest exit with 200 meters of water above? These are not unsolvable problems. The Channel Tunnel has sophisticated systems for exactly these scenarios. But the scale of the Japan-Korea Tunnel means every system needs to be engineered at a level that has never been attempted before. Engineers have proposed dividing the tunnel into segments with emergency stations, installing parallel service tunnels running alongside the main rail tubes, creating pressurized refuge chambers at regular intervals, and developing specialized emergency trains capable of operating even in partial power loss scenarios. It is, in every sense of the word, a mega project. The kind of project that takes generations to plan, fund, and build. And yet, Japan has done it before. And Japan has the institutional memory, the engineering culture, and the industrial capability to do it again. Section 7. The cost. Who pays for the world's most expensive railway? Let's talk numbers, because every time someone proposes a project like this, the first question everyone asks is, how much is this going to cost? And the answer, in this case, is a lot. An almost unimaginable amount, but perhaps more achievable than you might think. Various estimates for the Japan-Korea undersea tunnel have been produced over the decades. They range enormously depending on the assumptions made: tunnel diameter, construction method, rail technology chosen, and whether maglev or conventional high-speed rail is used. But a commonly cited range, in modern economic terms, is somewhere between 50 billion and 200 billion US dollars. That is a staggering figure. For context, the entire Channel Tunnel project, when adjusted for inflation to modern dollars, cost approximately $21 billion. The Crossrail project in London, one of Europe's largest recent infrastructure investments, cost around $23 billion. Japan's entire Kuo Shinkansen maglev line, which runs 286 kilometers from Tokyo to Osaka entirely on land, is estimated to cost approximately $80 billion, and it has been under construction for years. So 50 to 200 billion for a 230-kilometer international undersea tunnel with maglev technology. Enormous, but not entirely outside the realm of global infrastructure precedent. The funding model that most serious proposals envision involves a combination of sources: joint investment by Japan and South Korea, international development financing from institutions like the Asian Development Bank, private sector investment through a concession model similar to how the Channel Tunnel was financed, and potentially Chinese participation if the tunnel is viewed as part of a broader Asian connectivity initiative. There's also an economic justification that makes the numbers more palatable. A fast, reliable land link between Japan and South Korea would generate enormous economic activity in trade, tourism, business travel, and the construction boom itself. Studies have suggested that over a 30 to 50-year horizon, the economic returns from such a project could substantially exceed the construction costs. But, and this is a significant, but economics alone doesn't build tunnels. Political will does. And the political relationship between Japan and South Korea, while fundamentally cooperative, has historically been complicated by issues stemming from Japan's colonial occupation of Korea in the first half of the 20th century. These sensitivities have, at various times, made large joint infrastructure projects politically challenging. That said, the relationship is evolving. Younger generations in both countries are generally more forward-looking. Economic interdependence is deepening, and both nations face the strategic reality of China's growing power in the region, which provides incentive for closer cooperation. The political stars may not be aligned today, but the history of great infrastructure projects shows that they can change in remarkable ways. The Channel Tunnel, after all, was proposed as early as 1802 by a French engineer to Napoleon Bonaparte. It finally opened in 1994. Great ideas sometimes need 2 centuries to become reality. Section 8. Comparing undersea rail projects, Japan versus the world. To fully appreciate how extraordinary this project would be, let's do a global comparison. Because Japan is not alone in dreaming big about undersea rail. The Channel Tunnel, as we've mentioned, is 50.45 kilometers long and connects Folkestone, UK with Coquelles, France. It was opened in 1994 and carries Eurostar passenger trains at speeds up to 300 kilometers per hour through the tunnel section. It handles approximately 10 to 11 million passengers a year and has transformed the economic relationship between the UK and continental Europe. Despite financial difficulties in its early years, it is now commercially successful and is regarded as one of the great engineering achievements of the 20th century. The Seikan Tunnel in Japan, as mentioned, is 53.85 kilometers long and opened in 1988. It connects Honshu and Hokkaido. Interestingly, Japan has actually been working to upgrade this tunnel for Shinkansen service, and as of 2016, the Hokkaido Shinkansen uses a portion of the Seikan Tunnel, making it the only undersea Shinkansen service currently operating in the world. There is a proposed tunnel under the Fehmarnbelt between Denmark and Germany, called the Fehmarnbelt Fixed Link. This project is actually under active construction. It's an 18-kilometer immersed tube tunnel that will carry both rail and road traffic. It's expected to open around 2029, cost approximately 7 billion euros. And then there is the Gibraltar Tunnel, a long-proposed undersea tunnel connecting Spain and Morocco across the Strait of Gibraltar, a distance of approximately 14 kilometers at the narrowest point, but with challenging geology and depths. This project has been studied for decades but remains in the proposal stage. The Japan-Korea Tunnel would dwarf all of these. At 230 kilometers, it would be more than 4 times the length of the Channel Tunnel and would represent a quantum leap in undersea tunnel engineering. It would require technologies, construction techniques, and safety systems that don't fully exist yet. They would need to be invented for this project. And that arguably is part of its appeal to Japan. Japan has always been at its best when given a seemingly impossible engineering problem and told to solve it. The Shinkansen in 1964, the Seikan Tunnel in 1988, the SC Maglev in 2015. Each one seemed impossible until Japan made it happen. Section 9. Japan's infrastructure culture, why this nation thinks different. I've traveled to many countries on this channel, and I can tell you from personal observation that Japan has a relationship with infrastructure that is unlike anywhere else on Earth. It goes beyond engineering, it is cultural, it is philosophical. It is, in a very real sense, part of the Japanese national identity. Consider this. The average delay of a Shinkansen train in Japan is less than 1 minute per year, not per journey. Per year, the entire system, across tens of thousands of journeys annually, averages under 60 seconds of total delay per train per year. When a Shinkansen is delayed by more than 2 minutes, the rail company issues a formal letter of apology to affected passengers. In Japan, 2 minutes is considered an embarrassing failure. The cleaning crews, known as Shinkansen Cleaning Theater, board each train at Tokyo Station during the 7-minute turnaround between arriving and departing services. In those 7 minutes, a crew of workers in red uniforms transforms a 16-car, 400-meter-long train. Seats are rotated to face the direction of travel. Every surface is cleaned, floors are vacuumed, and windows are polished. 7 minutes. Like a military operation, tourists film it, architects study it. Business schools teach it. This cultural commitment to precision, to safety, to reliability, to doing things right, it's not an accident. It comes from a deep social value system that prizes collective responsibility and craftsmanship. The Japanese word monozukuri, meaning the art of making things, captures this spirit. Japanese engineers and workers don't just build things. They pour a kind of pride and care into their work that produces results the rest of the world struggles to replicate. This is the culture that would build the world's longest undersea tunnel and most advanced undersea maglev system. This is the institutional foundation on which such an audacious project could actually stand. And from Pakistan, from where I'm speaking to you today, this is something deeply worth studying. We have engineers, we have ambition, we have the CPEC investment reshaping our infrastructure. What we can learn from Japan is the importance of systems thinking, safety culture, long-term planning, and the uncompromising pursuit of quality in public infrastructure. Every great nation that has built great infrastructure has first built a culture that demands it. Section 10. Current status. Where does the project stand today? Alright, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds incredible. But when is it actually going to happen? Where does this project stand right now in the real world in 2024 and beyond? The honest answer is the Japan-Korea undersea tunnel remains a proposal and actively studied. Seriously discussed, increasingly detailed proposal, but a proposal nonetheless. It is not yet approved. It does not yet have a unified funding plan. Construction has not begun. But the conversation has never been more serious than it is today. Here's why. In Japan, the ruling Liberal Democratic Party has had factions that have consistently pushed for the tunnel as part of a broader Asia-Pacific integration vision. Japanese chambers of commerce, particularly in Fukuoka and Kyushu, have been vocal advocates. Academic research institutions have produced increasingly detailed technical and economic feasibility studies. In South Korea, the tunnel concept has appeared in national infrastructure plans under multiple administrations. Korean engineering firms have conducted their own feasibility assessments. The city of Bizen, which would be a primary terminus, has actively promoted the concept as part of its ambition to become a major international hub city. There have been formal joint Japan-Korea study committees established at various points. While these have not always maintained continuity across changing political administrations, they represent institutional recognition that the project deserves serious study. Meanwhile, the technology keeps improving. Japan's maglev program continues to advance. The Kuo Shinkansen line, connecting Tokyo to Nagoya by 2034 and eventually to Osaka, is actively under construction and will be the world's first commercial maglev line. Every meter of that line built, every technical challenge solved, every safety system developed adds to the knowledge base that would eventually make an undersea maglev tunnel more feasible. The most optimistic timelines from serious engineering proposals suggest that if political agreements were reached in the near term, planning and environmental assessment could take a decade. Construction could take another 20 to 30 years. Meaning operational service might begin sometime in the 2050s or 2060s. That feels far away. But remember, the Channel Tunnel took nearly 200 years from first proposal to reality. And remember that Japan has shown repeatedly that it can turn ambitious proposals into operational engineering marvels within a single generation when the decision is made to proceed. Section 11. What this means for Asia and the world, let's zoom out. Because the Japan-Korea undersea tunnel is not just about Japan and Korea. If it is ever built, it will have profound implications for the entire Asian continent and for the global order of transportation and trade. Asia is currently home to more than 4.5 billion people, over 60% of the world's entire population. It contains some of the world's fastest-growing economies. It is the center of global manufacturing, technology, and increasingly innovation. And yet, despite all of this, Asia's physical connectivity, the rail and road links that tie its nations together, remains incomplete. Europe, with far fewer people and a much smaller geographic footprint, has the Eurostar, the TGV, the ICE network, and the Channel Tunnel. A seamlessly integrated high-speed rail web that lets people move between cities and countries with the ease of domestic travel. A person in Paris can board a train and arrive in London in 2 hours and 15 minutes, in Brussels in 1 hour 20, in Amsterdam in 3 hours and 18 minutes. Asia has nothing equivalent at the international scale. The high-speed rail systems of Japan, China, South Korea, and Taiwan are all domestically magnificent. But they stop at national borders. They stop at coastlines. They don't connect. A Japan-Korea tunnel would be the first link in what could eventually become an Asian high-speed rail network of extraordinary scale. Connect Japan to Korea, Korea through the peninsula to China, and from China, the existing high-speed network already extends thousands of kilometers. The missing undersea link is the bottleneck that, once resolved, could open a continental-scale transformation of how Asians travel and trade. From Pakistan, this vision resonates deeply. We are part of Asia. We are connected to China through CPEC. The day when a person might board a high-speed train in Karachi or Lahore, and eventually, through connections, through improved regional rail linked to a network that reaches Seoul, Tokyo, and beyond? That day may seem impossibly distant, but it is the logical destination of the trajectory that projects like the Japan-Korea Tunnel represent. The 21st century is Asia's century. Asia's infrastructure must reflect that ambition. Section 12. Final thoughts. The future is built underground and underwater. We've covered a lot of ground today, or rather a lot of ocean floor. We've journeyed from the original Shinkansen in 1964 to the world record maglev run of 603 kilometers per hour. We've explored the proposed 230-kilometer undersea tunnel that would connect Japan to South Korea. We've looked at the technology, the engineering challenges, the politics, the economics, and the deeper cultural forces that make Japan uniquely capable of dreaming and executing at this scale. So let me end with this thought. Every generation faces its own impossible infrastructure challenge. For the Victorians, it was the first railways through mountains. For the early 20th century engineers, it was the first major road tunnels. For the mid-century builders, it was the first Shinkansen, the first supersonic aircraft, the first spacecraft. For our generation, the challenges are even more extraordinary, because we need infrastructure that is not just faster and bigger, but also cleaner, more sustainable, more resilient, and more connected across borders and oceans that our predecessors treated as permanent limits. The Japan-Korea Undersea Maglev Tunnel, in whatever form it eventually takes, represents this generation's impossible. A project at the absolute frontier of what human engineering can conceive and execute. A project that would require nations to cooperate, companies to innovate, workers to sacrifice, and billions of people to benefit. And if history has taught us anything, if Japan has taught us anything, it's that impossible is just a word for things that haven't happened yet. The future is not just being built in the sky with space rockets and satellites. It is being built deep underground, under oceans, through mountains, in the form of tunnels and railways and maglev lines that will carry the next generation to a faster, more connected, more extraordinary world. I'm Fawad Malik, and on Fawad Beyond Borders, we don't just travel to new places, we travel to new possibilities. All right, my amazing viewers, that is a wrap on today's incredible journey under the ocean with Japan's most audacious engineering dream. Before you go, I need a favor from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, if the Japan-Korea undersea bullet train was operational tomorrow, would you take a ride? How much would you pay for that 40-minute trip from Fukuoka to Bizen? I want to know. Let's get a conversation going in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video blew your mind, if you learned something new today, please give it a like. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this channel reach more curious minds around the world. Every like tells YouTube's algorithm that this content is worth sharing, and that means more people from Pakistan, from Japan, from Korea, from everywhere get to discover these incredible stories. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are building something special here on Fawad Beyond Borders, a community of people who are curious about the world, passionate about engineering and technology, and always hungry to go beyond the obvious story. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And share this video with your friends, your family, your WhatsApp groups, your colleagues. Knowledge is the one thing that grows when you give it away. Share it freely. Coming up next on Fawad Beyond Borders, we have some incredible content lined up. From Pakistan's own infrastructure transformation to more deep dives into the engineering wonders reshaping our world, you will not want to miss it. Until next time, from Fawad Malik from Pakistan to the world, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop going beyond borders.